If you've been there, then you already know. Channel alive. Now the real talk flows.
Step in the room, yeah, I question it all. Not here to preach, just as I recall. Devil's advocate, hear the other side. Voices unheard, I won't let them hide. Brotherhood strong. We speak our truth. Real talk only. No filter, no proof. Average man with a weight on his chest. Say what we feel, put it all to the test. Word of pressure, silence we hold. Stories get buried, never get told. Talking it out, here we open the door. Mingle through things they can't ignore. Not just pain, we build, we rise. Sharpen the mind, cut through the lies. Lies.
Okay, what is up, guys? What is up? Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope all you guys are doing well. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. So I have a few videos I want to react to. If you guys want to, I have the link in the chat. If you guys want to react to it with me, we could always do it. If you guys are feeling it. Laughing Man, what is up, my brother? What is up? All right, let's get started. Let's get the ball rolling.
On October 8th, 20...
All right, this is an interesting video, right? So, confession of a former pro-Palestine activist. So, let's see. I wonder if she's also, does she mean that she's would she be a former liberal, former Democrat as well, former leftist? Is she just completely left that side? We'll see. The Free Press. So, I've never really heard of this person, but this seems like an interesting video, so I wanted to check it out. Let's get started.
2023, Taryn Thomas was a sophomore at Stanford when she got swept up into the pro-Palestine activist movement. Other activists told her there were parallels between the pro-Palestine cause and Black subjugation.
My questions about the slaughtered civilians and hostages were met with whataboutisms and slogans such as resistance is justified when Palestine.
You know, you hear that? They use Black history against them. Okay? The Democrats, the left, the liberals, they're using Black history against them. Listen to that again.
My questions about the slaughtered civilians.
Listen to that again.
Cause and Black subjugation.
My questions about
Activists told her there were parallels between the pro-Palestine cause and Black subjugation.
Black subjugation. One, what is Black subjugation today? Okay, what they do? Okay, they use again Black people's past to manipulate them today. This is what I'm talking about. This right here is what I'm talking about. Black subjugation. Okay, so not a single Black person is subjugated today in the West. Yet Democrats, liberals, the left use that, okay, to be able to control and manipulate Black people, Black community. Okay, this is why majority of Black people vote Democrat. That is why they're using the victimhood of Black people. Why do you think I'm so against, right? I've done so many talks saying like racism isn't a big issue in the Black community. White supremacy, all this stuff isn't a big issue in the Black community. We need to stop thinking. We need to stop being shackled to the past. Why? Why do I keep saying that? Because of this. Okay, because of that mindset. Right, using Black subjugation to be able to manipulate young Black people into doing what the Democratic Party wants, doing what the liberals want them to do, doing what leftists want them to do. Okay, that's how they control Black people. Use this past that pretty much none of them experience, none of them are suffering from, in my opinion, to now continue them as part of their party, so they can have a automatic voter base. That shit is disgusting. I love to say this, but there's still slaves in Palestine. Just let you know, it's not me just talking. This is facts. I could send you the link if you want, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. I've heard that the Arab nation still has slaves. I've heard. I trust that, right? I believe that. I've been hearing it that the Arab nation still has slaves. It's still going on. That's what I've heard. Right? I mean, you could Google it yourself, but I've heard that the Arab nation still has slavery to this day. So
questions about the slaughtered civilians and hostages were met with whataboutisms and slogans such as resistance is justified when Palestine is occupied.
And she accepted that framing without knowing all the facts, or even knowing what really happened on October 7th. Taryn was all in. She took part in the first encampments that appeared on campuses across the country and fully submitted to the groupthink that Hamas was a legitimate resistance group. It wasn't until the Stanford protests broke into a building and turned violent in June of 2024 that she began to question the narrative. A visit to a Nova Festival exhibit in LA and later to Israel changed everything. This is our conversation about how a well-meaning, highly educated young person can fall into a destructive movement and what it takes to find your way out.
Let me be honest. I don't necessarily think that these kids, people on the left, liberals, are actually well-meaning, right? I think they're easily manipulated into thinking that they're actually well-meaning. Highly educated, they're not. I'm sorry. Earning a degree does not make you educated, because here's the thing. In my honest opinion, okay, what makes you highly educated is the ability to critically think, the ability to constantly question things, okay? The ability to seek knowledge. Earning just a degree, I've known so many people who skirt by, right? get enough, get a C in calculus, get a C in physics, get a C in this, get a C, like skirt by, and you still get a degree. So really having a degree doesn't really make you highly educated, because I know plenty of people who just barely passed by and still got a degree. Is that really highly educated? So I'm sorry. I'm very doubtful that these college students, okay, or recent graduates are highly educated. I think they're just very manipulatable.
Taryn, thank you so much for being with me here today. I guess I just want to start by asking you first who you are, how you got to Stanford, and then I'd love to know how you found yourself in the anti-Israel movement on campus.
Yeah, so hello, my name is Taryn Thomas, and I am a fourth year studying at Stanford University, and I'm a pre-med student. I call myself an activist. I've always been super involved in politics. I did some volunteer work with like California Department of Education, and just done a lot of volunteering around my school district. And so I've just always been just had a heart for activism.
So talk to me about kind of joining the pro-Palestinian movement on campus and what your involvement really looked like leading up before October 7th.
So my involvement for pro-Palestine pre-October 7th was very minimal. It was just like I would make posts that would say
Brent, what is up, my brother? What is up?
Free Palestine, or but it was more so kind of like generic activist post. And I didn't really necessarily understand all of the conflict of what was going on in Palestine, or like how complicated it was. I just kind of, again, I just knew that they were going through struggles, and I just wanted to show support. So pre-October 7th, it was just very social media activism. And then post October 7th,
that's the thing where show your support. You don't really know, and you show your support. You don't know anything about it. You really don't. And then you want to show your support. This is the fake activism that I'm seeing today. This is why I'm sorry. So many people want to say, "Why? Protesting is our freedom." Yeah, it is. But you know what? Being stupid should be criticized, should be critiqued, because none of the protests today, okay, is on equal standing of protests of the past. None of this, right, should even compare to equal rights or the Civil Rights Act. None of this compares to that. None of this compares to the equal rights for women. None of this compares to the Civil Rights Act. None of it. Not even close. Okay. And then when you compare the two, it is extremely stupid. It's showing how activists today, and I've had prompts about this, right? Activists, protesters today are honestly low IQ. They are low IQ people. They are easily manipulated people. Her being pre-med, okay, I mean, like some form of intelligence, but I'm afraid that it's book, less critical thinking. Okay, it is her memorizing, book information, but not being able to critically think, not being able to question her reality, the realities of others, the narratives of others.
October 7th, that day, I didn't truly receive a lot of information about what was going on the ground in Israel. I had initially thought God.
And yet you supported it. And yet you supported it. I'm going to say this right now, right? I will never support something that I barely know anything about. Okay. I may question it. I may have maybe a slight opinion of it, but it doesn't mean I support it. Okay. It doesn't mean support it. I do not support things that I really don't understand, Adam. I really don't understand. I have really no opinion on. I really have no knowledge of. So I will always stand 10 toes down on my opinions. And that's why I will gladly accept, questions or, pushback for my opinions, because I don't mind my opinions being tested.
So it got attacked with the amount of Palestinian flags I had seen on my social media, and a lot of people showing early support, immediate support for Palestine. In my mind, it seemed that there was an attack launched. There was a lot of misinformation being spread about what happened on October 7th. And one of the things I had remembered believing was that majority of the people that were slaughtered on that day were IDF soldiers, and that it was a battle, and that Hamas was martyrs. And their justification for calling them IDF soldiers was that, essentially in Israel, that there's mandatory service. And so essentially all Israelis are IDF soldiers. And it was a lot of like twisting the logic in order to fit a more appetizing narrative. Like so many leftists and so many progressives were pro-Palestine out of the gate. I just assumed that, like, as a leftist, that I should also be pro-Palestine, even if I don't know all of the facts, that I would soon be able to gather more information as it was getting released and then learn about it. So when I first showed support, I truly didn't know what I was supporting, and I didn't understand what was like October 7th, like as a whole.
So after October 7th, did your part?
And they call MAGA a cult. Here's a woman that's out of her mouth says she barely knows anything. She barely knows anything. So, but she says as a leftist, she still has to show her support. And the hypocrisy, the delusion of calling one group a cult when, to be honest, you're no better. I've said on this so many times where I'm not out here touting that Republicans, the right, or MAGA supporters, or any of these people are better, right? Or necessarily better than than the left, than Democrats, all that stuff, right? But I would rather stand with one side. I don't see the necessarily hypocrisies in. I don't necessarily see the delusions in. I can see your true colors, right? In my opinion, I can see your true colors, rather than stand with a side where they fake them shit. They fake their shit, right? They fake their image.
Participation escalate in any way? Were you more part of that group on campus? What kind of happened after that?
Yeah, so on campus, there was a lot of flyers to join in protest and
Exactly. Pretty much a definition of a cultist.
and join in community discussions surrounding October 7th, but it was again geared towards like people that are pro-Palestine. And so like I just like attended some of the like discussions that they had and the protests that they had, and they would have speakers like speak about what was going on in Palestine. They would tell us that, this war that was waged was a long time coming, and that this was, this predates October 7th, and that we have to actually look, since the establishment of Israel and what happened back then before we can, I guess, like dissect and mourn October 7th.
I guess the question on a lot of people's minds is what it
Red Door, what is up, my sister? What is up?
feels like to be part of the fashionable group. And I guess I now have the opportunity to ask you what it felt like in that moment to be part of the group that thought the trendy thing, if there was social value in that.
Again,
that's kind of what I believe, right? I believe a lot of young people are part of the Democrats, part of the left, part of the liberals. To be honest, I believe same thing with Alan, right? I mean, this is just my opinion, okay? I believe Alan is in part of the left because it's trendy. I honestly believe that a lot of these kids are part of the Democratic Party, part of the left, part of liberals, the liberal movement, because it's trendy. Red Evil Eddie, what's up, my brother? What is up? That's what I believe, right? I don't believe that they're actually, have a deeper meaning being part of this, part of the left. I just think that it's part of most young people are, they're part of the left, part of, they're liberal. So, it's a trendy thing to be part of the in crowd, right? The popular thing.
It felt critical to voice your opinion early and as often as possible in order to show what it means to be a true ally. And there was, in a way, like a social currency of if you show your allyship, you're like a true activist, you're educated, you have all of these like different labels ascribed to you. But if you are silent on the matter, you are contributing to that genocide. If you are not vocal and you're not and you're posting like very nuanced, if you post like nuanced takes, it's in like the middle ground. It wasn't necessarily like you have a nuanced opinion. It was that you're taking both sides, and you're allowing like Zionist propaganda to take an effect on you. And so, and anything that was not super pro-Palestine, and even just saying like, I believe in a two-state solution, seemed against Palestine and against the freedom and self-determination of the Palestinian people.
So when you're kind of wrapped up in this, I wonder if you can maybe explain what it was that you felt so deeply that in that moment it really did feel beyond question.
As I'm an African-American woman, I felt a lot of sympathy, especially when I saw like the parallels of what was occurring. And on social media, there was so many comparisons of that, Israel's apartheid system versus like South African apartheid system. And again, even with like Hamas being like the Black Panther Party, we understood as like a Black American that Black Panthers were outcasted and looked down upon for their unconventional ways.
What? What are you talking about, Hamas? Did she say Hamas is...
Media, there was so many comparisons of that, Israel's apartheid system versus like South African apartheid system. And again, even with like Hamas being like the Black Panther Party, we understood.
Hamas being the Black Panther Party? This is the insanity right here. Are you kidding? I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. I honestly believe that modern day Black people, they spit on their ancestors' accomplishments, their ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears. I 100% believe that modern day Black people, they spit on their ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears. They spit on their ancestors' accomplishments. This is the group, right? This is the generation that don't respect their elders. They don't. And they supposedly know so much, right? This is a woman that's like an activist, right? She's very pro-Black, yet seems like she knows very, very little about it. Okay, to compare Hamas to the Black Panther Party, yeah, unbelievable.
As like a Black American, that Black Panthers were outcasted and looked down upon for their unconventional ways and viewed as violent, even though they were not. Versus like actual true, like a
Hamas is killing civilians. Is that the Black Panther Party? All right. Hamas is going to war with people. They're killing people. Okay, for their zealots, for their ideology. They want to wipe out a group of people. So you as a descendant of amazing Black activists, you compare a true terrorist group, by definition a true terrorist group, to the Black Panther Party. Yeah. See even Red Door has been there. She's been there and done that. Okay. To compare Hamas to the Black Panther Party is absolutely disgusting, in my opinion.
Truly violent group that, and we never really got to discuss those harder topics of like.
I said this. This is the thing. I said this before, right? It is I've said this. Racism today is a propaganda tactic of the left. Racism today is a propaganda tactic of liberals, of the left, of Democrats. It's a propaganda tactic. She became pro-Palestine because people on the left keep on saying that, Palestine is just like Black enslavement, right? The issues that Black people have had. They're just like it. So you know what? You gotta support it because if the Black people win through it, right? Hamas and Palestine's going through it now, exactly the same. So you have to support them.
What about Hamas? What about October 7th? It was, I think, in a way, that method of like keeping us in the dark about how to go about freeing Palestine was a way to gain so much favor and support in the beginning. Because as soon as you support Palestine, it's very easy to then like get the ball rolling of like going down the route of being radical. And so without having to describe Hamas, without having to describe the past atrocities of like, you know, the 6-Day War and different histories that are so important to why Palestine and Israel is so complicated to this day, those things were kind of looked over, and those things were compressed into a 2D narrative that was easily digestible. And for African Americans, our story of colonial like subjugation and you know, years of oppression, it's very simple. It's an oppressor versus oppressed situation. However, you cannot apply that lens to the Middle East. And
yeah, this so-called modern Black Panther Party, bunch of BS, right? They were literally a Black Panther Party made to support Palestine. Are you the insanity of that? It was a modern day Black Panther Party made to support Palestine. I believe that's absolutely crazy. And again, it's another reason why I'm saying is that modern Black people are spitting on their ancestors' accomplishments, their ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears.
And say that one party is oppressing the other party because it's so much more complicated than I could imagine. And so as Americans, we are just translating our experience over to somewhere that's not America, right? People don't recognize that they have a limited worldview. It's very difficult to recognize that you don't know everything that you think you know. And I know, at least for me, it was pretty difficult to come to that fact because, again, I felt like I had an absolute conviction on wanting to, like, you know, free Palestine by any means and wanting to, you know, fight against my oppressor. And I thought, again, with the allyship that Israel and America has to this day, it made sense logically that, you know, America had oppressed my ancestors. And so them supporting a country and being allies with Israel, it made sense that Israel could be an extension of that oppression.
Do you see that right there? Weaponizing racism right there. This is why I'm today, I'll continue fighting against it. This is why I constantly say racism isn't a big issue for the Black community. Why do I keep on fighting that? Why do I keep on saying that? Because Democrats, the left, liberals, they're using it to weaponize they're weaponizing it. They're using it so they can control the Black basis. Okay? So if Black people keep on believing racism, right? The Black people keep on using racism, you can mold them. You can direct them to believe what you want to believe. You want them to fight against white people? They will, right? You want them to fight against Republicans? They will. You want to fight them against the right? They will. You want them to support Palestine? They will. Because what? You compare the Palestinians to, you know, black people of yesteryears, right? That's how they do it. And I'm sorry, the Black community is continuously falling for it. Because you believe in racism, now the left, liberals, Democrats can weaponize it. They can use your victimhood. They can use your hatred, right? Your hatred for America. America is terrible. America is racist. The white man is terrible. Colonialism, all this shit. They can weaponize that. So they can use Black people today to do what they want. And here's a woman, here's a Black woman, here's a young Black woman saying exactly that. They weaponize her hatred for America. They weaponize her hatred for America's past to make her think that, you know what? What's happening to Black people of the past is happening to the Palestinians. So you need to be part of this movement to support a country, support a nation, support people you don't know nothing about. You see the weaponization it's doing? And this is why a lot of young people are part of like the pro-Palestine thing. It is, I mean, I know I do go back and forth with you know, antics, but this is a thing where I don't believe that there's no racism. I constantly say this, I believe that racism isn't a big problem. Because one, it isn't holding any Black person down, right? Or barely any Black person down, in my opinion. I'm not saying Black people are a monolith, but you gotta think, right? I believe 80% of black people vote Democrat. So you mean we're not, it's like a monolith, but we can talk in generality. So majority of black people vote Democrat. Majority of black people vote Democrat. Guess how they vote Democrat? Guess why they vote Democrat? They don't vote Democrat because the Democrat Party do more for black people than the Republican Party. No, in all honesty, the Democrat Party don't do a whole lot more than the Republican Party does. They vote for the Democratic Party because of that weaponization, because of most, if not all, black people, right? Majority of black people believe in racism. They believe racism is holding them back. They're shackled to the racism. They're shackled to the past, right? They believe that they're suffering from slavery today. They believe they're suffering from Jim Crow today. So that's what the Democratic Party use to control the black party, the black community. And that is why for decades, the black community votes Democrats. Whether the policies are, whether the Democrat does policies geared towards the black people or not, which they don't, right? I mean, if you've seen history, Bill Clinton, it's not really the most Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Biden, they're not the most black friendly presidents or politicians, yet black people would vote for all these people. So
in a way, I felt when I was supporting Palestine that it's fighting against my past ancestors' oppressors.
What did you, or kind of the hive mind of that group, think about people who were Zionists or even just neutral? I mean, I remember being on campus and being a part of the pro-Israel movement and feeling pretty judged and ostracized, and I guess always wondering what the people on the other side of the barricades really actually thought of people like me.
As for Zionists, again, it was treated like a dirty word. You definitely did not want to be labeled as a Zionist, and there was a lot of paranoia. I felt that was in the encampment, that like there was people that were Zionists and they were like, funded by AIPAC to like spy on us, and I'm not sure if there was like any exposed case of that, but I know that there was, constant switching group chats to make, a new one for our new encampment, discard.
I think, I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to go brutal and say they're stupidity. I say that they're victims of their own victimhood, right? I honestly believe this is maybe controversial. I believe that black people need a villain. This is why, just like how women, right? How women need a villain, right? Just like how women need men to be the villain, the black community needs white people to be the villain. The black community needs America to be the villain. Why? Why do these people need people to be a villain? Because it is to take away accountability. Guess what, right? So a black man can say, you know what? I couldn't get a job. I couldn't succeed in life because of the white man, white supremacy, because of the system. It's holding me down because of redlining, because of racism, because of because of all this stuff, right? It's stopping me from achieving anything. It's stopping me from getting my education. It's stopping me from getting my degree. It's stopping me from, not having a baby mama, right? It's stopping me from marrying a woman. It's stopping me, right, from being a better person, from accomplishing things because of the white man. The white man is holding me down. Racism, right? So many cops are racist, right? Cops everywhere are holding me down. The white man is holding me down. So I can't do nothing because of the white man, not because of me. Same thing with women, right? Same thing with women. You know what? The pay gap. I can't make money because of, because of the pay gap, because of men. Dating sucks. You know why? Because of men. Right? You know what? I can't do nothing. I can't succeed in life because of men. Women need that, right? Women need the villain. And I'm sorry, people who are suffering from the victimhood mentality, they need a villain. And that's my problem. I mean, to be honest, I think we already segregate ourselves, right? Because if you look at the landscape of today, we all choose to live. We all choose to live within our community. I really know anyone. Yo, Antic, we cannot agree even more, right? We are 100% same of mind. I agree. I agree. And just like my title is, right? Feminism ruined the black community. Feminism ruined the black community. The Democratic Party, I believe, ruined the black community. So we are 100% correct. On the same board.
May have been inactive or may have, not been true Palestine supporters. And so as for interacting with Zionists at these encampments, there was just a do not interact with Zionists. They would, tell us, we don't want someone to.
See, this is the thing, Antic. This is why, you know what? We are very like-minded. We're just we just go towards we just on different streets, right? We're heading towards the same direction, just on different streets, right? We are definitely, I agree with you a lot. I agree with you a lot of things. But I love that, right? This is why I love my community, right? This is why I love the chat, right? You guys challenge me. You guys keep me on my toes. You guys would question me, right? Question my views. I love it. This is why I believe my chat is probably one of the best chats online, right? It's a small chat. It's a small group, but, this is why I know my chat, right? This is why I know my chat better than most other creators, because even though we're a small group, we are pretty top notch.
Take a video clip of it and, we look bad because of, the way that you interact with them. And then also it was definitely drilled in our minds that debate was useless with Zionists because they clearly don't care about the babies that are getting slaughtered. And again, it was any debate or any trying to find middle ground was just pointless in their opinion. And so at the time when I was deep into these encampments, I just kind of believed it, and I didn't really spend much time interacting with Zionists. And then also, again, if you did go out of your way to interact with Zionists, you were going against the camp and what the established rules were. So
does that not sound like a cultist? Does that not sound like someone who's part of a cult? The delusion, the hypocrisy of calling MAGA a cult, yet this sounds like cultish behavior. In my opinion, Mr. Smith, what is up, my brother? What is up? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. In my opinion, right, this sounds more like a cult than MAGA is, right? This sounds like more of a cult than MAGA is.
You would be essentially kicked out if that behavior was shown. And so it created an echo chamber. And if I had questions, it was supposed to be directed within the group and have dialogues with people that already think like me or think a bit more radical. And
you see how that works? This is what, as much as me and Alan or Zyrax don't agree with each other, right? This right here is why I don't care for the left. I don't care for liberals. I don't care for Democrats. This is why right here, you heard what she just said, okay? This is why I just can't support Democrats, the left, liberals, feminists, because they don't support an environment where you should talk to each other. This is at the very least, right? On the right, Democrats, Republicans, they have open dialogue. They have open dialogue. I mean, famously, Charlie Kirk died for having that kind of viewpoint, right? But we have so many people. We have so many people on the right, right, doing it, right? We have so many people on the right having that mindset that, you know what? Question my viewpoints. Let us question each other's viewpoints. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation, okay? But you don't see that. You don't see that on the left. You rarely see that. I'm not saying you don't, but you rarely ever see that, okay? You rarely ever see that on the left. I'm not saying, of course, I'm not saying, there's none, because I know there's what is it, Dean Withers or whatever, and the Harry Sis of this world, but it's rare. It's rare, right?
And
okay, I'm not saying it's rare, but it's not as prominent, in my opinion.
And when we like I said, when I had those questions, those tougher questions about October 7th and Hamas, and what does freeing Palestine truly look like, and to what length is that? I was met with a lot of slogans, and like resistance is justified when Palestine is occupied, and again, it's about the framing of it, that it's not a violent, slaughter. It's resistance. It was a battle. These are martyrs fighting for a good cause, and so yeah, that's why I say that it was trying to be like.
I love that. Look at what Red Door says. Most of the blacks I know are Republican, and think racism is used as a weapon by the left. 100%. 100%. Again, I'm not saying that there's no racism, right? I'm not saying that there's no racism. Of course there is. But to be honest, racism is just one person being a jerk to another person, right? That's in my opinion, right? Racism today, okay? Because there's no systemic racism, in my opinion. In my opinion, there's no systemic racism. So racism today is just one person being a jerk to the other person. That is it, in my opinion. But what the left do is use racism as there's still systemic racism, right? They still bring up redlining. They still bring up segregation. They still bring up slavery. They still bring Jim Crow, affecting black people today. Why? Because you could use it as a weapon, right? You can weaponize that. And black people will always fall for that trick.
Digestible for us in order to, again, get that, not necessarily like needing a consensus of what the method would be, but as long as we get consensus that we need to free Palestine, that was good.
I want to ask you, I guess, when you first started to really question those things that were happening around you that you were taking part in, was there a moment that maybe opened your eyes?
Yes.
I love that. We could disagree we could agree to disagree, but I love that you're centrist. I believe so too. I am too. Well, I'm more center right, but I'm definitely more center than left.
In June of 2024, at Stanford University, there was a protest that ended up breaking into an administrator's building and causing an estimate of $700,000 in damages. And in this protest, they graffitied very anti-Semitic things such as pigs taste better when dead. They spray painted America with like the KKK instead of a C. I didn't attend this protest, but when I read about it, I just was like, that's just too far. I don't know how spray painting these nasty things on our walls is going to make Palestine any freer. I don't know how breaking things in an administrator's building is freeing Palestine. And I didn't understand like what we were doing. And again, like there were so many justifications for it that this broken property isn't worth more than the human lives that are being lost in Palestine. And again, I can agree with that. However, why do we have to break property in order to get to that means, right? But it kind of just reinforced that like destruction and violence.
And that's one thing that why I can never be on board with activism, right? I can never be on board with activism because any kind of activism, right? When you're destroying public property, when you're destroying private property, what do you think you're accomplishing? You are hurting the people while thinking that you are fighting for the people? Does that make any sense? Just like, I don't know, what was it? The LA riots? You are hurting the people to do what? How do you get people on your side when you destroy their property? How do you get people on your side when you destroy their neighborhoods, their city? How do you get people on their side? You don't. This is why I've never been supportive of of any protest, really, right? At least any protest that I know, protests, activism, because honestly, it's just immature kids, in my opinion. These are just immature adults. So
was kind of a bit central to the cause of supporting Palestine, and instead of just realizing that like Palestinians want peace and stability, and I think we all want peace and stability, including people that are pro-Israel, and using these labels such as like pro-Israel versus pro-Palestine, again, that flattening of the issue. We all want the same things, but because of that othering and looking down upon another side for their morals and having this moral absolutism, it's contributing to closed minds.
I remember when that protest happened, and I remember thinking, these people don't want the same things as me. Like, even people that I disagree with, who were, to use the flattening terms of pro-Palestine, when they viewed me as pro-Israel, even I could.
Let me say this, right? I mean, to be honest, I wanted to see. She says Palestine's, want peace. I wonder, right? I wonder if it's true. Now, who knows, right? I mean, I have no true source on it, but I would say, I said I'll Google it. Let's see what Google say. Let's see what Google say. Believe what you will, right? Believe what you will. But here's what Google say: Palestinians' desires regarding peace are deeply divided and complex. While many Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza express a desire for peace, dignity, and a two-state solution based on 1967 borders, a significant portions of the population and leadership have historically rejected proposals that do not include full rights of return or control over East Jerusalem, leading to continued conflict. So, I don't know. I mean, where does she get her information that Palestinians want peace? Because it seems like it's a very divided thing. Okay, so I don't know if it's majority, I don't know if it's minority, but I know it's divided. So could you say Palestine want peace? It's questionable. That's why it's like, don't talk about shit you don't understand, you don't really know. Because to be honest, I wouldn't say that they want peace because I really don't know. Okay, I really don't know. So, and that's the problem with modern day leftists, Democrats, liberals. They don't fucking know. They don't know, but they still say a whole lot of shit.
See what they actually wanted, which was peace and stability, like you said. But especially these radical campus groups, seeing those encampments, seeing the signs, seeing the graffiti, for me, that was a moment of clarity of like, I actually don't want the same things as these people, because these people seem to want to burn everything down, including this country. And so I understand why that would have been kind of a red flag for you. And I wonder if you can maybe describe the first time you maybe voiced one of these questions out loud within that group.
My question kind of always went back to like Hamas and what do we think about them as like just like being in this pro-Palestine camp, and are they doing like justice? Are they truly like resistance? And again, I would get met with that same answer that it's justified. There was just like a mob mentality, and there wasn't necessarily like true like critical thinking and truly like dissecting what these like slogans mean. What
interesting. I give her credit, right? I'm hearing her more and more, right? She's talking about critical thinking, which obviously she's changed her mind. I mean, like I think she lacked critical thinking at the beginning, but she's developing it. But to be honest, I don't know. It seems like she's still left leaning. So how great is her critical thinking?
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Like, what does that mean? Truly, beyond just, saying that Palestine deserves like self-determination.
So when did things kind of start to like unravel for you?
The June protests, that was kind of the first, true, like, what are we doing? And I never really got to explore it until I received an email from my friend Julia Siegel, and
Thank you for charging.
Has sent an email to all sorts of different communities, and I had received it through the Black community mailing list that there was an opportunity to go to LA to see the Nova Music Festival exhibit. And when I had first seen this, I just was like, oh, I wanted to see the Israeli propaganda and see what they're talking about for October 7th, because again, it was like kind of drilled and ingrained in us that like October 7th was not truly like a big deal. And so I saw this email. I was super curious, and I just decided to sign up and see for myself. So we took a trip down to LA. We had a lot of like pre-education, discussions and, kind of surrounding what's October 7th. And I was getting a better understanding of it. But again, I was thinking that this was still like propaganda, and that this was like, they're like leading us to this, this conclusion that they wanted us to have. And so I I was still like kind of resistant to it. And so when we got inside of the exhibit itself, I think that was truly when I had experienced like the grief and the amount of empathy for what had happened. And I truly did not know how horrific October 7th was. I never saw any of this footage on my feed. I've never saw anyone repost it. I didn't know even about the Nova Music Festival itself.
See, this is the thing, right? This is the generation today. This is the generation today where they are very controlled by their feed. This is why, me personally, I always base my opinions on saying that, you know what, maybe it's just my FYP. Maybe it's just my FYP. This is why I've said this countless times before. I will never 100% hold on to a conviction. Okay, or I will say it now, at least. Right? I'm willing to change. I'm willing to, hear things out. I'm willing to, be educated. I've said this before, and a lot of people don't really believe it, but whatever, right? I don't, right? I don't say that, I always preference like, this is maybe my FYP, right? Maybe this is the algorithm has done to me, right? Maybe this is the algorithm has made these opinions towards me. Okay. So a lot of times, this is why a lot of times I dig in deeper, right? I type up story. I listen to, I try to, look deeper into it. Okay. But again, I've always said that I'm willing to learn, right? I'm willing to hear the other side. I'm willing to hear the other side and hear if it's if it sounds logical. I'm very much would change my opinion. Okay. My opinion is not necessarily very concrete on everything. It's just that when I hear, the opposite side, they rarely ever could change my opinion. But I mean, you guys seen it, right? Whether you guys think I, where I think I'm wrong or right, but I've done couple streams with Alan, some with Zyrax, and to be honest, they really couldn't give me a very, a logical take on their side. Okay, so
And again, there was so much misinformation on what October 7th was. Like I had shared about like that it was mainly soldiers being killed, and then finding out that it was civilians, and it was people my age that were just dancing and then fleeing for their lives. I was in shock, and in a way, I felt so like misguided by the pro-Palestine movement, because I was like, why haven't we talked about this? Why haven't we like truly like had a discussion and even like condemned what had happened? I walked through that, and I think I just truly opened my eyes, and I realized that there's like definitely two truths to the story, and what I understood, there's so much more information that I just didn't know, and I think that my story isn't unique on the pro-Palestine side. I think that there's a lot of people that joined the movement without having all of these facts, without understanding what October 7th was. They just understand what, October 8th and beyond. And getting to see that and being surrounded also by just, we had so many diverse students that had came onto this trip alongside us, and that we were all learning about how horrific this was. And again, we discussed it afterwards. And I think everyone from that group truly took something away from that day. And I know for me, I was experiencing like such severe cognitive dissonance of like what I was told versus like what the things I was learning. And also that it wasn't, like a statistic. These are human people that were, begging and screaming. And there's just no.
Yeah, it is a long video. So I'm probably going to scrub through it more.
Way that perspective that I wanted to try to bring to, I think my social media was like just inundated with Palestinian flags.
But you know what? I mean, I think Antics can't agree with me. This is why Black women, right? Women in general, in my opinion, women that has been affected by feminism. This is why, in this case, a black woman is destroying the community, right? They are easily manipulated. This is why Black women are ruining the Black community. This is why, no, it's her. I mean, it is her. But I mean, this is why women in general are ruining. I've said this before. I think feminists are ruining the world. I think feminists are ruining the world, and she's a great example of that. Right? I think she's a great example of that. This easily manipulated person. She's part of the problem. She's an example. She's an example of the problem. So,
and think pieces on being pro-Palestine rather than just sharing empathy of the lives that were lost on that day. There was no room for nuance, and there was no room for grief and expressing prayers towards these to those that were affected. There was so much censorship. They would have to admit that they were wrong, and again, like that sense of belonging and being called as
exactly. They will believe all kinds of nonsense, because if you can hit their victimhood mentality, right? If you can hit their weakness, if you can trigger their emotions, easily manipulated, easily believing in all this insanity, these delusions, these hypocrisies.
When it was such a dirty word, and I think that's like a genuine fear for people that are on the Palestine pro-Palestine protest. And so I think the leaders might be a little bit hard to reach, but I know that a lot of participants like myself can be changed and can have their thoughts changed. That it's about a lack of education. It's about not knowing the extent and like the history of how Israel formed, why it formed in the first place, learning about the different peace treaties that were attempts to bridge this gap, why it failed, how did Hamas form, even just because, and it's the very extreme, maybe Holocaust denying, but there's also more to that. That there's a modern day anti-Semitism that's like, again, Jews controlling the media or Jews controlling the world even. And those things are a lot more subtle. And it's, I think recently they have called it like the great noticing. And again, it's just to be able to have like a scapegoat to be able to blame all of your problems on.
I wanted to ask you, you get back from this trip to Los Angeles, what's the reaction from the people within SJP about you changing your mind?
So at that point, I already was disassociated from the SJP group. I was no longer like in their group chat and like their group messages. And so when I went to the exhibit, it was October 12th of 2024. During that time period, I was not vocal about my thoughts. I lost friends when I had actually got to visit Israel, and I had posted it. So it was called Perspectives Trip, and it was.
It's kind of funny too, right? I've been hearing this too a lot from the left. I mean, maybe the right too. Maybe it happens to the right, but I don't hear this on the right. But it's only, again, my FYP. It's only the left seems to, they would break up relationships, break up families. They would disown their parents, disown their kids. They will break up friendships because of a difference of opinion, because of a difference of mindset. And these people are tolerant. They are extremely narrow-minded. These are the people that will kick you out if you have a difference of opinion. Hey, if you are dissent, right? They will kick you out. You will be ostracized, right? These are the people. Exactly. I've heard that so many times, right? They would disown kids. They would disown parents. They would disown a family member, right? Because of a difference of opinion. I have heard that, right? Exactly.
Sponsored by Hillel at Stanford, and the applications were sent to people that had attended the Nova exhibit, and to see Israel for a week and have like education and get to meet Palestinians and Israelis on and hear them speak about their experiences. And so this time I was so hesitant. Like the first, when I had signed up for the Nova exhibit, I didn't, think too much of the social ramifications, but I knew that if I signed up and I went to Israel myself, I felt like I knew that I was going to lose friends if I talked about it. And I was genuinely so worried about like being outcasted, and I just knew that overall I can't claim to be an activist if I'm not informed. And
yet I don't know why, right? But what she just said, okay, afraid to losing friends and all this stuff, and yet these are the people you want to be friends with. This is the party you want to be a part of. Because you have a difference of opinion, you will be outcast. And this is the party you want. This is the party of love. This is the party of, for minorities, for women. Yet, God forbid, you have a difference of opinion. Because I've heard Democrats, left, liberals be racist, right? I've heard them call black ICE agents, the N-word. This is liberals, right? The left. I've heard them call black ICE agents the N-word. No problem being racist there, right? I've seen liberals. I've seen the left beat up a woman like a reporter, right? No problem being sexist there. So really, this is the party that you stoutly support?
Can't claim to be an advocate, and I'm only advocating for one side. And I decided ultimately I need to go see it for myself and see what I've been protesting against all this past year. And so I signed up, and this was the trip took place in March of 2025, and it was for our spring break. And it was a 10-day trip, and each day was educational. It was definitely not tourism, even though when I had posted it, people said you went to Israel to tour it. No. And each day we had new speakers, again, Israelis, Palestinians, but we also got to meet other Arabs that live in Israel, like Druze and Bedouin. And I didn't even know that there was other Arabs that live in this region. And it was so fascinating to meet these groups and hear their opinions and perspectives and their cultures, and see that a lot of them had also very nuanced opinions. It wasn't black and white for them. And, our first few days we were in Jerusalem, and I got to visit like the old city and see the Christian, Muslim, Armenian, and Jewish quarters, and to see them in such close proximity to each other. It was just.
And what was the reaction from people on campus when they did learn that you had gone to Israel? Like you had mentioned there was some kind of feedback, and I wonder, what it was like once people did find out that you went.
Before the trip, I did make a post, and I just said, I'm going to Israel and Palestine, ask me anything. And I received like a lot of comments, just mainly of like, why are you going there during like a genocide? And again, some of it was like out of like genuine, like, being puzzled. And then others were like, there's a genocide going on. You should not be there. Why are you going on this like propaganda tour? And then there was some people that like I lost one of my friends for years, that she asked me like, are you in Israel? And I said, yes, I am. Like, you want to talk about it? And immediately she blocked me. And this is a friend. I would say that this was one of my best friends, and I lost her without even a conversation. And I didn't think when I signed up for the trip that would happen. I thought I would at least have like a chance to talk to people and tell them about my experience and like my nuance. And again, I was still like supporting like, Palestine's like self-determination. And so I just thought like we would be able to like discuss and have these like open conversations, but it was not like that. And I was just at a loss when I saw so many people unfollow me. And when I that was the pre-trip, I wasn't even in Israel yet. And I went to Israel and I posted, I believe it was Israelis protesting against the government. I just, did a video, didn't put any caption or say that I'm for it or against it. I think I just put a clarification that Israelis are protesting against the government, because I was hoping that it would incite some people to say.
I hope so, right? I mean, I hope so. I hope the average person isn't. I questioned it, right? I questioned it. I definitely understand that the mainstream media definitely promotes the vocal, right? They want to promote what they want to promote, but I do hope it's the silent minority.
They like, oh well, there are Israelis that recognize that the government is, their methods might are like violent or like etc. But there are Israelis that don't that do condone some of the actions. And so maybe there is like middle ground to be found. And separating Israelis from the government, I think that was my main point. And so when I posted it, that again, it just the ball kept rolling of people asking me like, why are you even there? And then I also received a flood of like racist comments. And one of the ones that I remember distinctly was, are you a monkey tap dancing for your master? And that was so shocking because like the person that sent it to me was a leftist. And for them to revert to racism when I thought.
Literally right there. This is the party that fights against racism, isn't it? This is the party that supposedly fight against racism, yet you have no problem being racist. I've said this before. This is the problem I have. This is the problem I have with the left, with Democrats, with liberals. Right? If you don't agree with them, they have no problem being sexist towards you. They have no problem being racist towards you. They have no problem with being toxic, showing you toxic masculinity towards you. If you don't agree, right? They have no problem with it. They have no problem being violent towards you, being abusive towards you, right? They have no problem with it if you don't agree. So are they truly a party for minorities, a party for women, right? A party for the oppressed? When honestly, you have no problem oppressing people, right? If they don't agree. You have no problem being racist towards people. You don't have a problem being sexist towards people. You don't have a problem being violent towards people if you don't agree. I would say that if this woman is still a Democrat, still part of the left, still a liberal, she lacks critical thinking, right? She lacks critical thinking.
We're all on the same side. It was just a bit heartbreaking.
So
are you on the same side? When you don't agree with them, you're not on the same side.
Last October 7th, you spoke at a vigil on Stanford's campus, and
100%. I'm sorry. If you are a party that has trans people, you are honestly, I mean, if you're a party that supports trans people, right? Support anyone that believes that they are the opposite gender. Okay, there's some trans people that they know that they're a man. They just want to be a woman. Okay, I mean, even though you're mentally off, at least you're a little bit base, right? I mean, you do weird things. But at least you have some base to that, right? Where you know reality. You just hate reality. Okay, I mean, like, people can hate reality, right? But you know that you haven't changed reality, and it's fine. There's some trans people who say, no, I'm a woman. No, you're not a woman. So a party that supports that, yeah, they're mentally troubled.
You started by saying, a year ago I would have been on the other side of campus protesting people that you were speaking to.
A year ago, I would have been on the other side of campus participating in a counter protest, armed with megaphone and a conviction I thought was absolute. After October 7th, 2023, social media flattened a century of history into two opposing hashtags. Soon supporting the Palestinian cause became a litmus test for activists like myself.
Also, just want to know what it's been like to be embraced by a group that you really thought you were fighting against.
I was so shocked, for one. Again, after visiting Israel, I felt so isolated, and I was like at a point of just like I was losing so many friends. I didn't really have anyone to talk to about like the things I witnessed and I experienced. But the people that I made friends with like at this perspectives trip are like still my best friends to this day. And I learned so much from like my Jewish friends and about their experiences with like anti-Semitism on campus. I was embraced by the Jewish community, and I did feel like I could call like Hillel my home and have, I would stay for like Shabbat and,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad that you change a bit of your behavior, but who knows, right? I just think that, women like this, right? People like this, they give me they are a clear example why I just I was disappointed of ever being a Democrat. I find the left, liberals, Democrats disgusting, right? I do. I want to check out this video. Okay, so let's. I think this will be interesting. More leftist insanity. So let's check this out.
Just for Iran, this American did not vote. This message is for Iran. This American did not vote for Trump. I do not support this useless war. I do not support the destruction on your country. I am livid and devastated and have cried almost daily about the young innocent lives that have been taken because of a
whiskey. Thank you for the love. The topic is just delusions, hypocrisies, insanities of Democrats, liberals, the left, feminists. So
inaccurate, non-verified attack. We are mad. We are protesting. It is wrong. You should know that. This is Trump's war, not America's.
Just to add on to that opening statement, I would like to contribute my own message to Iran. If liberal women in the West are...
Whiskey, what is up, my brother? What is up? How's the house going? Kind of mute, but it's all good.
Or crying over you or protesting for you, that doesn't mean anything because they cry and protest over literally everything. It's all they do. They don't have anything better to do at their time. It's who they are. So sorry to disappoint you. To get into what I want to talk about today, as we know, it's been a couple of weeks since the current conflict with Iran started between us and them, but anybody with at least a couple of brain cells to rub together understands that this did not start 2 weeks ago. It did not start a year ago when Trump was reelected as the president. This has been going on for decades and decades, and we have lost countless of our own men and women, not to mention the thousands and probably millions of the Iranian people that have been murdered by their own regime over the last 50 years. So this is not a new war. It is not a new conflict. It is ongoing. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert and that I know what the right answer is or what the right moves are, what the right way to handle it is. I'm sitting back and watching and evaluating and just trying to make sense of all of it and obviously praying for the best outcome. But what I cannot understand, and maybe I shouldn't be shocked by anything anymore when it comes to liberal women, I legitimately thought that at some point there would be a limit for liberal women, especially as they pretend to be the defenders of women, that they would look at this and say, maybe this makes me a hypocrite. Maybe this makes it look like I really don't care that much about women's rights if I'm defending the Iranian regime. So we are going to...
I mean, to be honest, them defending trans people already showed that they don't really care about women's rights or women, really. So
to look at a few clips today that have ended up on my timeline, because if I have to see them, so do you. But before we get too much further, live under this regime, because obviously women in America have no idea what that's even like. I mean, some of us that are sane and have been listening to these atrocities and trying to grasp what it's like to live under people like this, under leadership like this, we understand that it's horrific, but you really truly cannot grasp it unless you have lived it. So I want to listen to what she's saying, because I think it makes the response by feminists that much more offensive when you listen to what it's like to live under people like this, and then you listen to the people defending it. So let's have a listen to this woman here.
For anyone who doesn't understand what life is like living under the Islamic Republic, this is for you. In Iran, a girl can be legally married at 13. In Iran, a mother loses custody of her children when they turn 7. In Iran, children of political prisoners are born and raised inside prison walls. In Iran, a woman's testimony in court is worth half a man's. In Iran, marital rape is legal. In Iran, a woman can't sing solo in public. In Iran, women are banned from many sports stadiums. In Iran, you can be executed for being gay. In Iran, a married woman needs her husband's permission to travel abroad. In Iran, you can be executed for changing your religion. Just ask a Baha'i. In Iran, if you're an unmarried man and woman together, you can be arrested and whipped. In Iran, the hijab is mandatory and punishable by law up to 15 years. In Iran, security forces use rape to torture political prisoners, both men and women. In Iran, criticizing the regime can get you executed. In Iran, they shut down the internet to hide massacres. In January 2026, they killed tens of thousands of protesters in a near total blackout. In Iran, men can have 4 wives and unlimited temporary wives called sires for hours or days. In Iran, the IRGC military controls over half the economy like a mafia. In Iran, over the past 5 years, the currency lost roughly 98% of its purchasing power against the US dollar. Iran's inflation rate averaged 40.3% per year with a cumulative inflation rate of 442%. In Iran, they forced school children to chant death to America. In Iran, walking your dog is a crime in many cities. In Iran, drinking alcohol is illegal and punishable by flogging. In Iran, dancing with the opposite sex is illegal. In Iran, satellite dishes are illegal. Using Starlink can get you the death penalty. In Iran, the regime executed over 1,000 people in 2025, and already in 2026, there has been 552 executions. In Iran, doctors who treat wounded protesters are arrested and threatened with execution. In Iran, journalists are imprisoned for reporting the truth. In Iran, this social media post would get me executed. This isn't about politics. This is about basic human rights. This is the system that millions of Iranians are fighting against. Keep amplifying their voices. Payende Iran. Long live Iran.
So that is what we.
That is insane. I mean, like I always tell people to, you know what, don't believe everything online, but I mean, you know, Google it yourself. But if those are true, I find it even more disgusting how Democrats, the left, liberals even have the morality to support a country that would do such heinous acts to its people. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, so I heard someone said that in Iran they're like the center of transgender surgery.
Really?
Yeah, because if you're gay in Iran, they perform surgery on you, and then you're considered a woman.
What? I've never heard of that.
I don't know who said that, but it was a reliable person. I can't remember who it was.
Really? Because I would think that they would not like that. I would think they would rather kill you.
Yeah, I thought it was odd too, but that's what this person. It's like the most expert. They have most expertise in transgender surgery. So I suppose they, you know, if you're a guy, it's not just hormones. They'll do surgery to, you know, to rearrange everything.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Brent, I always heard this, right? I posted this. I posted this on my. Did I post it? I think I did. I think I posted it. Right. But yes, they just executed that gold medal wrestling kid. He was 19, I think. Right. Yes, they did. They hanged him. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting what they did. And this is what the left is supporting. These types of people is absolutely. It just shows you that this is the problem I have. It's just that they hate Trump so much. They don't mind supporting actual dictators, which is absolutely insane. They hate Trump so much. They don't mind supporting actual dictators. That is insane to me.
We're dealing with here. That is the regime that people live under. I know for women, but let's get into a couple of these clips. So this is one that I found particularly entertaining. Maybe it's because she sounds like a child, but let's listen to what she has to say. It is extremely unhinged.
Something that I think is truly wild is that we see these leaders, high up military ranking members of Iran, answering questions of reporters, calm, cool, and collected in English. Can you imagine any of our upper political echelon, answering questions in Arabic? Even taking interviews, like at all.
Why would they do that? What would the point be of them doing that in what? Absolutely stupid point of view. Absolutely stupid opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, English is the language of business and diplomacy nowadays.
Yes, I mean, like
I remember,
English is like more widely spread, used.
It's wild. It's wild.
First, please lay off the helium. Second of all,
Wow, I did not know that. So Red Door is educating us. Transgender surgery is legal in Iran and has been since the late 1980s, following the fatwa issued by the Ayatollah. Really, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I would think that they would just get rid of anyone who's gay, but that's insane. That's interesting. Because wouldn't it be like you're still having sex with a man? It's kind of crazy.
Paul, there's probably like a small handful of people in Iran that are actually allowed to answer questions. They are on a very tight leash. And as we heard from this beautiful Iranian woman just a couple of minutes ago, if they set one sliver of a toenail out of line, that will be the last time we ever see them. So yes, they might sound civil to your face and be able to keep calm, cool, and collected because, of course, they want to appear exactly the way that this woman described. They want to appear that they have it together, that they're not this cruel, inhumane society or ideology or people. They want that. So obviously it worked on her. She's like, look, they're so nice. Obviously they're nice people. So she fell for it. But it's what goes on behind the scenes and the things that they try to hide that are completely horrifying, probably beyond our
Sounds like a fancy keyboard. Evil Eddie, you're crazy.
our wildest imaginations. I mean, the things that we think are happening behind closed doors in Iran, we probably couldn't even imagine it. We can probably think of the worst thing humanly possible, and that wouldn't even come close to what actually happens to these people. But she's talking about them like she's, she just came home. So this little grandma, as sweet as she looks, has kind of jumped on this trend of like sending messages to Iran saying, please don't hurt us. We're on your side. We don't like Trump either. As if the Iranian regime cares what your political party is. Once again, just proving that these people have absolutely no idea how this regime operates, what their ideology is, what their mindset is. And honestly, I think that they keep themselves in ignorance on so many of the things that they support. And I'm talking about leftists. They avoid actually learning about the things that they're supporting because even they wouldn't be able to defend them if they actually did a little bit of research and listened to women who actually have had to live through this. But let's listen to the sweet little granny here.
So there was this report that Iran had a drone and they're going to attack California.
And by the way, that story was debunked. It was based on a single tip to a local agency in our local law enforcement agency in California. And even in the email that contained this tip, it says this is unverified intelligence. It was a single tip. So that story's not true. They're not threatening California, at least not right now.
Excuse me, I need to talk to you for a minute, Iran. We had nothing to do with electing this man. Nothing. We are a very liberal state. We despise this man. Oh, but you know what I think? It's probably this miserable lying administration put the idea in Iran's head.
Again, no idea how the Iranian regime works. First of all, no one's putting ideas in their head, okay? They have had their religion and their ideas for a very, very...
Yeah, they've been saying death to America way before Trump. So really, it's like kind of idiotic. And in my opinion, I'm very doubtful that there's any nation on this earth that would really attack, America, right? That would attack American land. I would really doubt that because, to be honest, if any nation that has the balls to do that, I think America will go scorch earth on their ass. I think they will wipe them off the face of the earth. So I doubt any nation would have the balls to actually hit American land. Now they put American bases off in other countries because it's, you know, it will be less of a declaration of war. But I mean, like, if they ever dare hit any part of our land, I think they would be wiped off this earth.
Long time, and they have been hyper focused on those ideas of wiping out the West, of wiping out non-Muslim people, okay, non-extremists to be more specific. But it just baffles me that these people for today, because I don't know how much more of this I can take, but this one's a quick one. And yeah, she seems to think that Iran is saving humanity.
Unpopular opinion. At this point, I feel like Iran is standing up for humanity. They have the balls to do what no other country has had the balls to do.
Yeah, like imprison journalists and kill and torture innocent people. And oh, did you hear about the Iranian women's soccer team who just decided not to sing their national anthem? Yeah, if they go back to their country, they will be tortured and murdered. And while some of them were granted visas in Australia where they were playing their games, there were about half of them that did go back, and probably because their families are being threatened. Yeah, so Iran definitely is doing things that no other country or leadership does.
You know what I noticed is all these are white women. This is what I really think that this is the problem, right? I mean, like, the problem, again, it can lead back to feminism. White liberal women are honestly the worst in the world. They are poisoning our country. They are the worst group of women, the worst group of people. I've said this before. I think feminism is the root of all of our problem. I think feminism is the root of all our problem, and women like this shows it more. Okay, to right here, praising a dictator, praising an authoritarian is absolutely ridiculous. It's insane that these people have the brains to think that it's a good thing to show your support to a leadership that would kill thousands upon thousands of its citizens, control pretty much all aspects of his citizens' lives. Okay, but the other women already told you all the problems that happen in Iran, but yet women like this, white liberals, right? White liberal women.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think most white liberal women have not had any, hard times in their life. So their outlook on life is it's like looking through rose-colored glasses. Everything looks nice, So they don't know the bad side of life. They've never encountered bad people, and they're just they live in a very sheltered environment. Most of them are, probably pretty wealthy, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, exactly. This is the thing where I kind of believe this, where because we are more free than ever before, because we have like less worries than ever before, right? I think, particularly white liberal women, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that their families do well, they're doing well, whatever. They have very little worries in this world. So they desire some differences. They desire some excitement. They desire some chaos. I think all women desire chaos, but I think a lot of women just can't afford it, right? They don't have the opportunity for chaos because they got to make a living. They're going to, they have problems, shit like this. While particularly white liberal women have almost no problem. So they got to find something to bring chaos into their life because they are chaotic creatures. So this is why they're always I think, honestly, most white liberal women are always far left. They're always extremists.
And they're not very nice people either. I mean, Margaret Sanger, she was like the patron saint of all feminists for like 50 years. And it turns out, and then we find that the truth about her was she didn't like black people. That's why
Yeah,
she
she wanted to
created
exterminate them.
abortion clinics.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing where I've said this before. I don't believe feminists want equality. They want supremacy. They want power. I believe feminists want power. I believe they disguise that under the narrative, the propaganda of equality. But in all reality, in all honesty, they want supremacy. I think women want power, particularly white liberal women. Okay, I think they are striving for power, and
they're so bad at when they have power. They're so bad at doing things when they have the power. It's just so inefficient.
I agree.
We have to take what's that amendment that gives women a right to vote?
The 19th Amendment.
We have to repeal that. Women should not vote.
You know what? Sometimes when you see women like this, it's hard to disagree. It is definitely hard to disagree. When you see women like this, it's just you can't. You just can't.
They're basically children. No, they've never grown up. They're just basically like maybe in their like 10 years old to 16-year-old phase permanently.
I agree. And here, you know what? We will get I think a decent example. This right here, I believe, is a decent example of, honestly, these liberal women's, these feminists, just modern day women are honestly just they are the problem. They are the problem in society. So we'll definitely see. This will probably be the last video I'll react to today. Thank you for watching. So let's just finish this out and let's check it out.
World, and she's allowed to live in a Looney Tune world because she's a female. That is a privilege that only women have, where they can be this delusional, this unaware.
Red Door saw this. I mean, Evil Eddie saw this. Yes, I see a little bit of this. I wanted to watch the whole thing.
Like this much critical thinking and still make it violent life. If we took her brain and put it in a man's body, we'd be homeless.
No.
This girl's
See, that's
low
what
IQ.
you are doing.
This is incredible. And she's a college student too. This is the perfect example of higher education does not mean that you're higher IQ. This is crazy. You're good. But let her go first. She was there.
Hi.
Yeah.
Your statement here, women deserve less.
Yes.
What substantiates that conclusion?
What substantiates why men need to give women less?
Why? Wait. Because what you said was different. You said, okay, I'm reading, women deserve less. And then you said, men something give women less.
Women deserve less?
Okay, so that claim.
Yeah, everyone saw this is a funny one. I saw a little bit of it. I want to see the whole thing.
What substantiates that claim?
Because women are incredibly entitled, rude, narcissistic, solipsistic.
Okay, so let's
have huge egos.
Okay, so let's zero in on that one point. You said entitled. So women are entitled. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, I think any heterosexual guy here will agree with me that dating women.
How did you come to that conclusion? What's your reasoning?
So you want my anecdotal answer?
No, I don't. I'm talking about logic. Like, what's your reasoning? This doesn't include.
Okay, I mean, I can draw from many different, I guess, pools, but in general, I've talked to over 4,000 women.
No. This isn't. I'm trying to get what science substantiates that claim. What studies are there that support the claim that women are entitled, and then therefore it necessarily follows that women deserve less?
Women, okay, are opportunistic maters.
Okay. Now you're doing something different. So we started off with women are entitled, and now you're saying
okay. I think Myra knows this stat too. I mean, like she says, what study, what science. I mean, not many people would focus on it. But a good study is dating statistics, right? Dating statistics. They show that, majority of women go for the top 20% of men, right? I believe that is an entitlement where you think, where majority of women think that they deserve or they want the top 20% of men, right? Top tier men. That's been a dating statistic, a dating study. So that is I don't know if I would call it scientific, but I mean it's a study. So it shows you a bit of women's entitlement.
Plus, you're not going to get any scientific studies in colleges and universities nowadays because the colleges and universities are all controlled by women.
True.
And they're not going to authorize a paper or a double-blind trial of whatever to prove that are entitled.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
They're not going to. They're going to do transgender studies and women's studies and papers on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Plus, not many people are trying to do studies on let's say dating studies. Not many people are doing those kind of studies, so it is hard to find actual science on it.
I mean, they should though, because we need the nuclear family back, and we need people to have long-term relationships so they can have kids and replace themselves. That could be a study.
Which one? Like, let's focus on one at a time.
If you stop interrupting me, then I can explain it out for you, because this is obviously I need to start at 1 before I get you to 10.
Okay.
And that's the problem. I saw the clips of this, right? It is the insanity of how she's acting. Okay, I sometimes I think, like, is she trying to be funny? Is it satire? It's like, this cannot be how you actually act, all the time, because it's like, are you kidding me? You're just weird as shit.
So number 1, women are opportunistic lovers. Okay, so what that means is they require far more from the man than the man requires of them. Okay, this is shown all throughout the animal kingdom. The man must be able to provide, protect. Okay, she has her notebook out. Okay, great.
I'm trying to follow your premise.
Sure, yeah. Okay, we'll go through it then.
It's to see if your conclusion logically
Yeah,
follows.
sure. So women are opportunistic lovers. Okay, and what that means is they require more from their mate than their mate requires of them. Typically, men just want sexual access. Women want security, and that security falls in many different forms: provisioning, protection, leadership, competence, etc. So since women are opportunistic lovers and require more from the guy, okay, what ends up happening is women have a you need to impress me type mindset. Now, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for men competing in the hierarchy for the pursuit of reproductive access. However, in 2026, with the explosion of the internet, dating apps, social media, etc., women have become almost insufferable and intolerable with their solipsism, narcissism, entitlement, etc. So in other words, average women think that average men don't qualify for them. Average women think that they're better than average men. So, and this is because a lot of simps.
And then to easily kind of prove it is that, like I said, the dating statistics that easily prove it. Okay, where 80% of women would swipe on just the top 20% of men. Right? They go for the same men over and over again. So it kind of proves that kind of notion that women don't desire average men. If given the choice, women don't desire average men. Now, that's why a lot of times that's why you're hearing more settling, because, given the choice, women, are not, they want the top tier men, but yet they don't get those top tier men, or they can't get those top tier men to settle down or whatever. So they pick men that they eventually say they settle for.
Blow smoke up women's asses thanks to the internet, and this has them going out thinking that they demand or want the best guy, because also, since we live in what I call a globalized sexual marketplace, women have access to higher status and more attractive men. So once a woman has access to these kinds of men, she automatically assumes she's at that level. A woman could date 3, 4, 5, 6 different levels above herself. So what ends up happening is they conflate that sexual access or that dating access with this is what I deserve in a long-term relationship, and the two typically don't align. So this is why I say women deserve less, because most guys give them more. So you need to stick out and not be a simp.
Okay. So
Hope that makes sense.
you went through a series of propositions. The first one is that women are opportunistic lovers. You substantiated that by saying that men just want sex and that women require more. Now let's examine what that means. So saying that women require more and that men only want sex, they only require sex, that is the
It is
basically
the predominant thing we look for.
saying that it is so now you're making a universal claim for all men that women.
No, this is the problem. This is the problem with like a lot of feminists or women's argument. When men talk, they're not usually talking about all, right? How women are so wired to think about this. If you're not talking about all, you're talking about like individual. No, you could talk about general. You can talk majority. You could talk. It's like a lot of times it's easier to talk about the majority because there's so much nuance. There's so much variations. If you talk about the individual, so that's why when men talk, particularly online, it's easier to just talk about the generalities, right? You could say most women like taller men. You can't say all women like tall men. That's not true at all. You can't say very few women like tall men because, to be honest, you see dating statistics have shown that women would swipe more on taller men. So that's why it's a better medium to just say in general. But a lot of these women think that, okay, if you're talking about all. No, because it's ridiculous to talk about all people because there's so many variations. But a lot of times these women try to destroy your argument because they say that you talk about all people. No, you're not talking about all people.
Like men just want sex.
No, that is the predominant reason we talk to women in the first place.
So
if women didn't have vaginas, we would not talk to you guys.
Okay, you do that because
most women are insufferable and annoying.
No,
so most guys would not talk to you if you didn't have a vagina.
Great, so that reason.
And that's the God honest truth.
Just wow.
I'm listening, but I'm just being real with you. Like men typically only deal with women for sexual access. That's it.
Cool. So maybe men who reduce women to sexual objects do that. Though it's not necessarily the case that all men do that. There are men who do talk to women because women do offer friendship. They offer.
No guy wants to be friends with women. Most guys sit in the friend zone because it's a strategy to try to get laid later.
So you don't do that.
I'm sorry?
So you don't do that. And so
whether I do it or not is irrelevant. What I'm saying is that when guys have like allegedly platonic relationships with women as friendships, they typically have ulterior motives. They want to get laid.
So
being friends with women has no benefit for a man at all. Very little. Unless like she has some type of like situation where she can assist him or whatever, but in most male-female friendships, men derive almost no benefit from that friendship.
What about gay men who are friends with women?
I'm sorry?
What about gay men who are friends with women?
They don't count because, well, they don't even hang out with women a lot of times.
Well, so why don't they count? Gay men, why don't they count? Gay men who are friends with women, why don't they?
Well, to keep the conversation like concise, heterosexual men typically don't derive benefit from being friends with women.
Okay, so it's 3:01. Do you want to keep going?
What was that?
It's 3:01. Do you want to keep going?
Can we finish at least this one? Okay, we'll finish this. We'll give you. So you're the last one. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I guess
we're on the topic of platonic friendships and how it doesn't work out for men's favors. How it doesn't.
Yes, so men who only view women as sexual objects aren't able to be friends with women, but there are men who do not view women as sexual objects. And so the reason why I was bringing up the example of gay men is because.
Now I will say this, right? I don't think any heterosexual man don't view women as sex objects. Now they can view women as more than just sex objects, but I can't believe that there's no that I mean if not all heterosexual men view women as sex objects. More, they can view women as more than just sex object. But if you take out the sex, I definitely agree that there's not that much of an incentive to get to know women. Now, I also disagree with Myron that yes, I think there are plenty of men that would just be friends with women. Now, the same type of men would, if you given the chance to have sex with them, I mean, they probably would. There's a high chance that they would have sex with these women, if they're not in a relationship themselves. So, there's no absolutes.
Yeah, that's if that's the problem with having a girlfriend, you got to talk to them, right? Because most women aren't very interesting. They don't have very interesting conversations because most women they talk about gossip. They talk about like relationship stuff, how they don't like this woman. They don't like women don't really like women, so they don't. And it's dresses, accessories and clothing. That's about all they talk about. Most women.
Yeah. Yes. No,
Right.
I admit that. I've known a few. I known a few who has very stimulating, intellectual conversations, but to be honest, the few, the many that don't outweighs the few that do. So, yeah.
Gay men are sexually attracted to women by definition, right? And so just knowing that there are men who are friends with women and aren't sexually attracted to them, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you why your claim is not a universal claim. And you seem to keep going back and forth on whether or not it's a universal claim. And it's because you are drawing upon personal experience.
I'm speaking
right.
in
So,
general.
okay, you say general, universal, I say universal. So
there's a difference because, again, his conversation makes more sense if it's in general. She's trying to make it not make sense. That's why she's saying universal. She's saying all. Because if you say all, then of course there's always nuances. There's always exceptions. That's her way to debunk his logic. Because when he says in general, that means his logic is very sound.
Most men that are friends with women are friends with women with ulterior motives. Does that mean that every single guy that's friends with a female has ulterior motives? No, but a lot of them do. A lot of them, like if we took 10 guys that are friends with women, probably 7 to 8 of them are trying to get laid. The other 2 might actually look at it as a platonic friendship. But the majority of the time, they're not. And the reason why is because women simply don't provide enough value from a platonic friendship perspective to justify being friends with them, because men almost always have to bring more to the table. You get boyfriend energy, you get someone you could complain to, you get protection, all this crap, all the boyfriend stuff without giving up the girlfriend stuff.
okay.
That's the issue with platonic friendship, allegedly. Go ahead.
Okay. So
Stumped, I guess.
what? No, it's not that I'm stumped. It's just that what you are saying logically does not.
It makes perfect sense logically. Men want to fuck,
To your mind, for men who only view women as sexual objects and they only value women insofar as the women can provide some kind of sexual satisfaction for the man, sure, then your view applies. But what I'm saying is that your view does not apply broadly. Like
It actually
for
does.
all men. Okay.
Okay,
So
what are human beings put on earth to do?
have fun and live. And
Okay.
What the hell? Human beings are not put on earth to have fun. This is such a women's mentality. They think so much in happiness. They think so much in fun. They think, to be honest, I believe this is because of women. We have such a debaucherous society, in my opinion, because women are the big pushers of a sexual revolution. So absolutely idiotic.
with our friends.
Let's translate the womanese. have sex and have kids, right?
Okay,
So,
that's what you think
yeah,
because
okay.
you
know what that means when
are-
girls say that. So we're put on earth to have sex and have kids. Like that's why we're here, right? So the man's sexual urge is extremely strong. Okay, you're a female, so you might not understand it, but testosterone makes you horny all the fucking time. One of the main reasons why men deal with women in the first place is for sexual access.
Yeah.
Now, some guys go through this surreptitiously, pretending to be your friend. Oh, I'm here in your corner. But the reality is they want to have sex, and that's their mating strategy to get said sex. Guys use different strategies to try to get laid.
Okay, I see that.
In short, if women didn't have vaginas, most guys would not talk to you.
I mean, to be honest, men and women don't really share the same hobbies. They don't really think the same. So it is true in general. What's up, big bars? I haven't seen you in a while, my brother. It is true that, men and women, we don't really share the same interests, same hobbies, same viewpoints, same ideologies. So, in general, men wouldn't benefit a whole lot from female friendship. I mean, to be honest, if a man can find another man that is a man, but he's more emotionally intelligent, practically women are useless, right? If without the sex, right? If you find you have a guy friend that is also emotionally intelligent, he can advise you on more emotional shit. You kind of just got rid of what women can do.
It's odd. Exactly what you're saying when we talk about this stuff is it's not all women. So I'm not saying all women are kind of insipid and aren't really interesting to talk to. Like I'd like if Margaret Thatcher was still alive and I had the opportunity to talk to Margaret Thatcher. I'd like to talk to Margaret Thatcher. She's pretty intelligent.
No, yeah. Like I said,
and like Ayn Rand, who wrote all those books. I'd like to talk to her. So it's not all women, but it's like 60% of all women aren't very interesting to talk to.
No, right? I definitely agree. I mean, like I said, I mean, I've talked to plenty of well-educated women, women that has very good conversations with, but again, they don't outweigh the ones that don't. So I definitely agree.
Like, could you imagine talking to this woman? I mean, she's pretty.
No, she would be on my nerves.
She'd give you a headache. She's like an airhead that got through university, and she's a teacher. Is that what someone said?
That's what Evil Eddie said. I mean, I assume. I mean, she probably would say that she's a teacher, but I mean, yeah, I'm like, it's just how she's like overacting. It's just like so annoying.
So, are you talking to me now because you want to have sex with me?
This is actually precisely why I don't talk to women. Actually, this is precisely why I only do it when I'm on camera, bro. This shit is frustrating. Bro, this is actually precisely why I don't talk to women off camera because it's ridiculous.
No, but so does your claim hold? Yes or no?
What? That I only talk to?
No, like you said, men only talk to women because they want to have sex with them. I'm a woman. We are talking.
You came up to the microphone to have a debate. This is a completely different scenario than the average male-female scenario and dynamic of talking to each other.
Okay, so
yeah, see, this is what I mean when I say women lack critical thinking skills. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, let me just take this one example.
But he's like, it's true that she lacks critical thinking skills. She's trying to find holes into his argument, or she's trying to make something up because literally, yes, she's the one who went up to debate him. He didn't come up. This is the thing where he's not the one who's coming up to her to try to talk to her. Men that do that usually are men that would pretty much want to sleep with you, right? Now, if they become friends with you, it's still the premise is still a chance to sleep with you, right? Men make the opportunity. Men take the initiative to talk to you, to get to know you because maybe they want to know you, but if there's definitely hoping a chance to sleep with you, right? 100% hoping the chance to sleep with you.
Look at those two guys behind her. That guy on screen left and the guy on screen right. So the guy in the purple shirt. So if the guy in the purple shirt was a really good guy and never cheated and was hardworking, and the guy on the left was, slept around, she'd probably choose that guy on the left, I imagine, right?
I mean, if she probably choose, yeah, probably
Yeah.
she'll probably think he's better looking.
And try to use this and build my entire argument on it.
No,
Are you
see,
trying to have sex with me?
No,
Because we're
there's-
talking right
look,
now.
that
It's like,
because, no. What I was
no.
doing, that I know, I understand. Like, it's the reason why I said that is to demonstrate.
Even Eddie, you have conversations with strippers. I think I might have one conversation in my life with a stripper, but it's not that often.
Why your argument does not hold.
What part of my argument doesn't hold?
Oh, where to start with that one? So you went through a series of propositions, and those propositions in themselves weren't substantiated by any kind of scientific evidence, any kind of peer-reviewed
They're literally
studies.
substantiated by human evolution and biology.
Okay.
Like,
So, but
it's
that's not
literally
that's
biology.
Not,
It's very
no,
simple.
No. See, no. See, but are there peer-reviewed studies? Like, are there studies that I can look up right now that say men are only friends with women because they want to only have sex with?
This is the thing where it happens too, right? Women like to, they want to disagree with a lot of things where it's objective reality, right? I've seen women say, "Oh, women don't like men that are tall," just to argue with men, and it's like, are you kidding me? Objective reality has shown that at least majority of women, at least 51% of women, right? I believe more, would desire a tall man, would pick a tall man. Yet women will constantly say, no, women aren't that superficial. Women aren't that shallow. Women don't want just tall men. Women go for personality. Women go for personality. No, that's bullshit. So women, it's like, again, yeah, would it be great for for conversations where we have some scientific studies and scientific proof? That would be great. But to be honest, no one has done it. But still, it don't really matter, because a lot of times you can use objective reality, and this is also why it is better, because he used a general conversation, general people, right? It is true that generally, right, it is true that a general amount of women love, or they pick, or they desire tall men. It's objective reality.
Or at least taller than they are.
Yeah. I mean, that is the very least, right?
With women, and that's it. Like,
but there's no, I don't believe there's any scientific study for that, and that's the problem, right? So you could technically argue against it, because, oh, where's your scientific study? If you don't have it, then what? You saying it's wrong? Again, see, that's the insanity of that kind of mentality, because it is objective reality that in general women do at the very least like men that are taller than them. Yet there is not a actual I don't believe so, a actual study or scientific study on it. So you could debunk it, but that's why that kind of argument sometimes is really stupid.
Men do right.
If you pull up studies, it will tell you that what men look for in women is youth and beauty, which is tied to sex.
So where does that come from?
Well, I think there was a dating study that showed that on average, men between 25 to 40 or 50 whatever, still they pick women usually in their mid-20s, right? They find women in their mid-20s the most attractive. So there are dating studies that shows that men in general find women of a certain age bracket the most attractive out of all.
Where does that desire for youth and beauty come from? I'm trying to challenge the claims that you make, that you take to be true. They're just
TBD. What is up, my brother? What is up? I think men and women can't be friends without feelings eventually occurring. It's just biology, unless the woman's mad ugly. This is the thing, right? I agree to that too. I agree to that, because you got to think, if a man finds a woman attractive, right? And then he becomes friends with her. So he doesn't just find her attractive physically; he finds her attractive, personality wise. So, in all honesty, it's not surprising that he would be interested in said women.
Okay, so you don't agree that men look for youth and beauty in women?
Okay, what I'm trying to do is understand why you are doing But it seems to me that based on our conversation,
see, you're focusing more on me than my
forth,
argument. That's the issue
No.
here. This is why you can't formulate an argument. You're more concerned with me and my worldview versus me telling you the biological fact that men
so what
are
you're doing
interested
right now
in reproduction.
Okay, so what you're doing right now is conflating your worldview with what science is. So you're saying because I believe this and because there are these scientific studies that say this, therefore this. However, we have to challenge the fundamental claims. Why is it that men only value youth and beauty? Is it because we happen to live in a system?
Because it shows fertility, right? It is scientifically proven that as women age, they become less fertile. That is a scientific fact, right? So if men in general, desire a fertile woman, that means said men would desire women at their fertile best, which is usually in their 20s, right? In their mid 20s or so, right? In their 20s. That's women at their peak fertility. So obviously it's part of the biological makeup why men are more attracted to women in their 20s, right? So that already is scientifically proven.
Society where women are valued in context to their ability to only reproduce up to a certain age, right? And then after that, women quote unquote expire after a certain age. So see, the thing is that in itself, we cannot even truly say that because that is a social phenomenon that is a product of our society. And so we have to look at the structures that support what it is that we are even trying to understand. And so that's why I'm challenging.
All right, so guys, this proves right now why women need to be second-class citizens again and be put in the kitchen.
No,
this is crazy.
This actually doesn't.
I'm literally telling her the sky's blue, and she's arguing with me, saying, "Well, I think it's green because if I look at it through this lens,
that
it's
is not an equivalent analogy. That is not an analogy.
Women have a very difficult time accepting and understanding biological fact because you guys don't like the fact that men are looked at as success objects. I accept this, while women tend to be looked at as sex objects. This is the reality. I bring resources, you bring sexuality. So that's what men look for. There's a reason why, hold on, stop. There's a reason why men universally between 18 to 60 years old find the same exact demographic of female attractive. 18 to 24. That is the golden range that men look for.
Okay.
They don't care about your education,
but you're not going
your status.
further and questioning why.
Why is fertility, right? That's one of the biological makeup. This is ridiculous.
And that's why
you're asking for studies, and I'm literally telling you the studies.
No. Okay. Then what journals are they in? Who are the authors? Where can I find these peer-reviewed studies? What's the DOI? Where can I find these peer-reviewed studies?
Yeah, look it up. If we can't even be on common ground that men are interested in women from a sexual replication value, then we can't even have a conversation because you're in Looney Tune world. You're literally you don't even accept basic reality that men.
So because I don't accept your reality, then that means that
you don't accept reality.
No,
and that's actually a privilege that this is interesting.
No.
Guys, as you guys can see here, hold on, stop.
No.
This is very interesting.
Right now is doing this weird
this
back
woman
and forth, trying to
is living in a Looney Tune world, and she's allowed to live in a Looney Tune world because she's a female. That is a privilege that only women have, where they could be this delusional, this unaware, lack this much critical thinking, and still make it by in life. If we took her brain and put it in a man's body, we'd be fucking homeless.
No.
This girl's
See, that's what you are doing.
This is incredible. And she's a college student too.
You are the one coming.
This is the perfect example of higher education does not mean that you're higher IQ. This is crazy.
Okay.
You can't even accept biological reality.
See, because it is not
feminism for you guys.
Hardline fact, right? It's not the same kind of truth as 2 + 2 = 4. That is a fundamental truth about our world, right? And so I'm trying to draw the distinction between these analytic truths.
You know what's
and then
funny?
these,
I'm looking at everybody here. They all think you're retarded. I'm being honest with you.
No.
You can't see them,
I
but like they all think you're retarded. I'm not even trying to be an asshole here, but we need to.
Look,
This is why we need to bring
I'm
bullying
not
back, right?
thinking about,
Bullying is good
I'm not thinking
because
about that.
here's the
I'm
thing:
looking
women
at-
never get
no.
bullied for their stupidity.
No.
This is gonna be. This is
I'm
going to
not-
remind her, like, oh shit, maybe I should think before I speak. Because if a guy was on here saying this ridiculous stuff, we'd all be laughing at him like you're retarded, dude. But like with women, you guys get a privilege of being morons just because you got tits and a vagina, and we got some simps here in the back, probably a Jew. And like we don't say anything to you guys because we don't have sex with you. Women are able to say preposterous things because we want to get laid.
So
it's
I'm
actually
looking,
incredible.
Okay, great.
Incredible.
So great. Okay. I'm looking at my students in the crowd here. To my students, my female students, my male students, this is not the way that argumentation works. And I want you to know that no matter who you are, just please do your best to exercise your reasoning, develop it, because this is not it. And I just want.
Well, there's a
my
reason you should be in the
students
kitchen, and it's pretty clear
I
right
see
now.
my students
Speaking of
here.
reasoning, you should be making a sandwich for
This
any
is-
superior to you because clearly cognitively you have some issues. This is
I do
nuts.
cognitively have
Only
some
women have the
issues.
privilege of being retarded, gentlemen. Get the book. Why women deserve even less.
Yeah, I admit. I mean, I'm not crazy about Myron always attacking Jews, but it is what it is. I don't really care. He really loves attacking Jews, but I mean, whatever. I mean, he loves attacking all races, or some races. But I mean, that was mad funny. It's definitely that is the problem with a lot of women where they can't just critically think, right? I mean, they can't agree with, again, objective reality. So I definitely think that is a big problem with a lot of women, and that's why I rarely ever see women be successful in debates, because honestly, they're weird like that, right? They're weird like that. That will be it for tonight. I want to give everyone their last thoughts on tonight. Big Bars, what is up, my brother? What is up?
What's up with you, man? Good to see you back, man. Good to see you back.
I missed ya.
Yeah, I just want to, I just really, I wanted to say one thing, and it shows the inability to control your emotions, and that's what I see in most of these. I sad to say, women. If you look at it, these women are out of control, untamed gorillas, and the men are just sitting there stoic as can be. And I think that's something that needs to be. Personally, I think if that's why I call the ruling class the hierarchy. And I think if they really gave a damn, they will control some of this stuff. And if people were actually smart as they claim they are, they will force them to. That's what I think.
No, I agree. I mean, like we were talking about this before, where white liberal women are out of control. White liberal women are absolutely out of control, and I'm sorry, the men are controlling it, and we're seeing how dangerous, destructive white liberal women are, because I think they're poisoning so many communities, right? I think they poisoned the Black community. I think they poisoned, they destroyed the dating market. They destroyed, politics. They've destroyed so much part of society. So it's just, I think it's crazy. And again, this is why it's crazy to talk to people.
The only problem is that there's more women than men.
And why is
think-
it? Because men went and protected women. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's more women than men because men died in wars protecting women
I think it's
and children.
51-49, something like that. It's pretty close. But the other thing is women typically vote more than men.
Yeah, they do.
So if men would vote more, we could solve a lot of these problems.
Yeah, I mean, I just, the problem is there's no good politicians that honestly. I think it's been a detriment where, yes, I think politicians geared themselves towards towards women more than they do towards men nowadays, which is, I don't know. I think that's a detriment. I do think that's a detriment towards men. I mean, I would definitely vote for a politician that, wants to, change up our divorce laws and our marriage laws and shit like that. I'll definitely vote for that man.
I mean, there are some. I mean, as we both said, there are some good women that realize all this stuff we're talking about.
Yes.
But they are not the majority. I would say they're probably like Red Door woman.
Yes.
I think she's pretty intelligent.
She is.
Right. So, and she would be probably willing to change some of these laws that hurt the families and all that kind of stuff. Vote for that. Vote for change. But I think there's probably only like, all women in the United States is probably that realize this stuff is bad. Feminism is bad. It's probably like 30%. But if you think it's 30%, right? But if men and these women that don't like feminism got together, we could change the laws.
Yes, yes, and I think that's why I love today where more and more people are speaking out. I think this is it's a small movement, a small corner of the internet, but I think it's growing. So I hope that there are changes. I hope that more people talk. I hope I definitely hope that there are more changes. So I definitely am on that side.
The only reason I disagreed is because of if you read, what started with me was reading the Patriot Law. When you read the Patriot Act, you see how they how in politics they attach a whole bunch of bad to good. So you see the good and you vote for the good, and then the bad gets ushered in. That's the only reason I would disagree. Now,
I definitely agree with you what you said, because that's what I hate about a lot of our laws, our amendments, our all that shit, because they don't make it they make it so vague, or they put so much shit into it, right? They don't make it like, oh, just if you kill, you go to jail. No, they put like, oh, you do this,
there is hope. There are a few states now that require paternity tests at birth. It's like maybe two or three, but it's growing. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. My thing is, I think that with the population going down, which it is, which it lets people having babies and being put on child support, which it is. When that happens, the hierarchy, their money gets messed with, and that's the only way they're going to change things. And see, then actually women are going to be on the opposite side of the hammer. And I think that's when things are truly going to change, because just like a lot of women are so egotistical and they won't like concede to knowledge, men are going to be the same way. And they're not, once they get the woman's foot off of their neck, they're not going to let it get back on ever again.
We should bring back fault divorce laws.
Yeah.
When divorce laws went to no fault. That kind of that was like in the, when was that, like the 60s?
Yeah.
That really, because if you're married, if we had fault laws, if you were married and your woman cheated on you, then she wouldn't get anything from you. That'd be fault divorce law.
Yes. I mean, like, because like, I think the number one cause for divorce is just women feel like it.
Right.
It's just
how they're going to get money.
Yeah. So I definitely think that there's a lot of changes we need to do, but it's slow, but I believe that it's happening. It's happening.
Plus, if we went back to the fault divorce laws, there'd be a lot more private detectives. That'd be a career for men, because before, private detectives, they used to they would get hired by men to find the woman cheating. And when no fault was over, was no longer the law of the land, private detectives as a occupation kind of ceased to exist.
Definitely agree. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for checking out the stream. You guys are amazing. with Tim, Bars. Thank you guys for being here. I love you. I love you. Bars, I have missed you, man. Good to see you here. You guys are amazing, right? I love you guys. Evo Eddie, I love you, my brother. Thank you for, thank you for all the music. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the love, right? I love you. Red Door, my sister. Thank you for being here. Brent, I love you, Brent. TBD, I'm glad you're feeling better, right? I'm glad you're getting better. So hopefully, we'll definitely create a Wednesday live stream where we talk about the UK. I definitely have some opinions on that shit. The UK is going crazy. It's on fire, I believe, right? The UK is on fire. Antics, I love you, my brother. Thank you for stopping by. Laughing Man was here. Thank you for being here. Mr. Smith, I love you. Thank you for being here. You guys are amazing, right? You guys are amazing. So thank you guys. Later, guys. I love you.